This episode of Small Business Leaders Podcast is brought to you by Adams Lane Photography.
Hi, and welcome to this episode of the Small Business Leaders Podcast, brought to you by the Legacy Podcast Studio in historic downtown Kernersville, North Carolina. My name's Lamar Powell, and this is my colorful co-host,
Yes.
Audra Adams.
Hi, everyone. And again, welcome to this episode. It's always great to see you. I do realize I have magenta hair, and I meant to do that. So just so we cover that.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
Yes.
Hey, and it couldn't come at a better time than we're about to have a very artistic conversation.
Yes.
And I'm expressing some artistic things in this way. So please welcome to the table, Bruce Frankel.
Well, Bruce, welcome to the table today, and welcome to the Small Business Leaders Podcast. And I'm so glad that you're here. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I really appreciate you guys for having me on this afternoon.
Yes.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. I'm glad he's here.
You guys are too nice.
Yes, that's wonderful. Well, we have a purpose today on what we want to talk about, and there's a conversation going on in our community about murals.
Correct.
And that's really what we want to talk about today. But before we dive into that, because there's a lot of different elements to that that we want to kind of talk about, I think it's important for our community to know about this. I personally love the idea and hope we can navigate a way through it in a great way. But before we do that, I know it's also important to you because you're a part of this conversation, and I've seen that, and I think that's great. But I also want to talk about you just a little bit before we get into that other. You own a business here in town that is dealing with traveling, and what's the name of your business?
Yes, it's called The Mindful Traveler. It's a full-service travel company that's really focused on vacation planning. So we help people really customize and get the most out of their travel experience.
So can I tell a short story real quick?
I mean, yes. Now, I'm going to be calling you about a thing next year, though.
Well, good.
I
You
know.
need to do that. So my wife got on to me several years ago. She planned this big 50, when I turned 50, a big trip for me because I was really nervous about turning 50. I don't know why it bothered me so bad. I don't know. It was bothering me really bad. So she surprised me with a trip to Hawaii, and it was amazing. I really, really enjoyed myself. So, of course, then there was payback time. And the payback time was when she turned 40, she wanted to go on a special trip. Apparently 40 was bothering her.
Oh.
So I had to plan every bit of it. So I started doing that. Then I found out how quickly that was so stressful, Bruce. So somebody said, you need to call a travel agent. I know somebody who can help you. And that individual was amazing. It took all that pressure off of me. I had a wonderful trip as a result of that. So thank you for what you do. It's important.
And Lamar, it's a great story because I don't think people realize, it's one of the questions they get all the time. Why should I use a travel advisor when I could do this on my own? And that's exactly the reason why. Matter of fact, I usually tell people when they call me to plan a trip, I'll say, have you been online yet? Have you looked at other things? And they'll say, no, I haven't. I said, well, why don't you look and see what's out there first, get some general ideas, and then give me a call, and then I can really assist you and help narrow down that search.
Is that where the name came from, the Mindful Traveler? Tell me a minute about that.
And, nobody ever asks me that question. I am impressed. When I was looking to rebrand the company, I had been in the travel industry many years ago. I opened up the Mindful Travel in 2008, but before that, it was Frankel Travel Associates. But when I decided to have an online presence, an online business, I just felt that having a name that would be kind of overview of what people should experience to make the most out of their trip. And it's really a very mindful thing from the time you start planning, the time you experience it, to have those great memories when you come back.
I love it. I love the name anyway.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
So there's another thing that you're involved in, and by the way, we need to have you back to talk about that more because that is that's a neat subject. I'd love to hear some of your stories.
I've got some good ones.
But you do. That'd be great. But you're also a part of something else in town that I think is very important. I know we're a small business. We know how important small businesses are in a local community. But you're a part of a networking association called the Triad Business Network Association that's affiliated with the Kernersville Chamber of Commerce. So you lead that, and I've been to a couple of those meetings. Tell us a little bit about that, too.
I'd be happy to. When I came to Kernersville to open up the business, I have a lot of background in helping small businesses, entrepreneurs. I've got a corporate banking background, and I like to give back to the community. And it's probably the best way for me to help really mentor other companies. Matter of fact, I joined the chamber in 2008 and 2009. I was honored to receive the Small Business Advocate of the Year award for helping other businesses, and I take great pride in that. And so, one of my favorite books is by E.F. Schumacher. He's a famous economist from Britain, and he wrote, "Small is beautiful, economics as if people mattered." And that's really what small business is all about. And so for an entrepreneur who maybe doesn't have a big resource to pull from, not a lot of staff, this is a way for them to kind of network, meet other business owners, maybe different or similar type businesses, and share experiences and learn different skills from one another so they can help support each other's businesses.
Love it.
I love it.
That's awesome.
It's so important. And we have such an amazing chamber here. They've been so helpful, I know, to us in so many different ways. Really, and I love watching them operate in our community, and I think it's important.
Lamar, I've been involved in chambers from as far north as Toronto and to as far south as Miami. The Kernersville Chamber of Commerce is truly unique. They do a phenomenal job. For a town our size, to have the quality of organization, great staff, can't say enough about them. 500 members that we have here, as part of it. Really just a great volunteer base, and that all geared towards supporting the local businesses.
And I found within our business that it truly is a valuable resource and does pay you back in spades, because those members first, in our experience so far, has been to look into the chamber's directory to try to find a local person first before they'll go to a big company. And I've been so appreciative of that with the chamber and how easy to access the other members.
And you'll find that all these members are very helpful.
Yeah.
Both as far as certainly using their services, but even any direction they can give you, and referring other businesses or other types of things. It's the nature of our community too. It's the business community is a reflection of the overall spirit that we have here in our town, and it's one of really true community coming together.
So for small businesses, and we've said this 1,000 times probably on this show, get in touch when you're opening. Get in touch with a chamber. It really does help boost your business from the start. So definitely, that is something that we've heard multiple times here from other guests. That's very important.
Yeah,
to do.
One of the committees I actually chair for the Chamber of Commerce is the Ambassador Committee, and that committee is designed to welcome new members. And so when somebody does join the chamber, we want to make sure that they have access to all of the resources that the chamber provides so they can decide where they fit best and where they can get the most help when they need it. So, anybody that's looking to start a new business in town or anybody that's looking to connect and get more involved in the town should definitely start at the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
So needs to be a show about that as well.
There does.
And we have talked about it quite a bit. But that is really a worthy discussion to have. To be helpful to business owners.
I have a more I have to know kind of question that is a little veering off. But
You're going to veer
I'm going
off.
to veer right back.
Okay.
I don't know for sure, but I don't feel like that you were born and raised in North Carolina.
No, I was born in a foreign country called Brooklyn.
I remember I started to ask. I said, I'll ask you that on camera. I'm not going to ask now.
Yeah, no, it's funny. When I first came here, yes, I obviously stand out a little bit. And I think, again, something unique about Kernersville, I was surprised how welcome I was. Obviously I'm not from here. Obviously, and back in 2008, there was even less people from out of town. And I was very happy to see that, they could understand the language barrier that we had between us. But yes, it's been, for me personally, it's been a unique experience. I've never been in a small town before.
Really?
So
I
yeah,
guess
this is the first time I've lived in a small town. And so I'm like overwhelmed by the kindness and just the friendliness of the people. I'm just not used to that. It's like, somebody once said to me, he says, and they said, don't you feel like the pace is slow, slower? I said, no, I don't think people are slower. And again, going back to being just more mindful. I think people are just really more thoughtful in how they do things. And I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah. Well, I know it's almost 20 years too late, but welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's a great place. It really, really is.
So now we're veering back.
Well, I'm so proud of you.
I know. I said I would.
We can verify again later too.
We can do that later.
All right. So today, really the purpose of this particular podcast is there's a conversation going on in our community about murals.
Yes.
On buildings. And I personally think that they're amazing. They're tastefully done. I think it adds so much to our area. And to me in Kernersville, I think that it would be a great ad here. It really would. And I've loved them, and I've seen them in other places. I love taking pictures of them. They're very meaningful to me. So I know there was an effort because I've been seeing that effort put forth to try to add some of that here. So that's really what we want to talk about. Yeah, we do have some.
We've started the project. Christina Parrish is the one who's responsible for all this great art. She's the one that coordinated the program, designed the program, and an amazing woman. I mean, she has just has an incredible art background. She actually was a high school teacher here in the county for 5 years. So she really has a lot of expertise, actually a little bit longer than that. And just a well thoughtful designed program, not just to really do Lamar, what you just said, create images around town just to make it more enticing, more relatable. It's great for storytelling. It's great for kids to have imagination and the visual aspects of it. I mean, it's such public art is so important, and people don't realize it, especially today. I mean, think about kids walking down the street and they see an art mural and they look at it. You know what they're not doing? They're not looking at their phone. Yes. And we need people, opportunities for people to have more, critical thinking, just to really see these types of things. And then your point about taking pictures, I know a little bit about tourism, and
yes, you do.
So it's people are drawn to places, and that's how they love to sharing the destination. Look at this mural, look at this art, and whether it's taking pictures of that or selfies or whatever you see, it's a great opportunity to promote a pedestrian friendly environment.
Honestly, there's almost not a day that I drive by the one right here on Main Street that somebody isn't taking a picture in front of that. And also we have the spring
Are you talking
folly,
about the one down by
on the cake?
And Christina did that.
That's correct.
She painted that, and it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I've taken pictures in front of it just because when my granddaughter comes to town, I'm like, let's go here. I've got them on my phone. I love it.
Yeah, and before we started, we'd mentioned Anthony Bourdain's.
Yes, that one's beautiful.
That is a beautiful. And to me, that was inspiring. Yes. That was trying to relate to you because I've watched him on television before his death, which was very sad. But what he provided was very inspirational to me, to have conversations with people all around the world over a meal, not only enjoy that meal and that culture, but just sit down and have conversation. So it inspired me. I needed to go find that. I heard that was
I think you actually
I did.
asked me.
Yeah, I asked you all about where is that?
Yeah.
Because I just didn't come across
here.
it. Yeah, it's at the Short Street Kitchen, which is a great thing to have on their building because of what they do.
Yeah.
Well, do you find or do you know? I cannot say this. Murals, is that right?
Murals.
Yes, you're good.
Murals.
You're good.
Thanks.
I practiced.
I have never been able to say that word. Do you find that the buildings that they're on, or do you know that the business that it is associated with, do they see an uptick of business because of how cool the mural is on the outside? I wonder.
Yeah, it's a little bit new at this point is to actually get specific numbers, but we do see more traffic downtown as a result of it, and people want to know when more are coming. We've been getting a lot of good positive feedback, from that. So I think that I don't know anybody who is really not in favor of art murals. I mean, we haven't, in the course of this conversation that we've been having in town, I've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of people. And, no matter who I talk to, yeah, we like art murals. I mean, there's something, and again, just your example. I mean, just when you see that, even though you've seen it
Yes.
before, it still makes you feel good when you see it
It
again.
does. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a lot better than staring at a blank wall.
Absolutely.
It is, and I feel like that's what art does overall. Even
Yes.
in your home, when you have something that is beautifully done, I always appreciate it every single time that I walk by it. Like there's just a vacation from your thoughts, I feel like, for a moment. Oh, I'm talking to a travel agent. Look how I did that. You see how I did that?
You're so good.
I'm just
Amazing.
It's the pink hair.
Yes.
That's what it is
Oh.
today. It's the pink hair. But yeah, I've always felt that way. And taking, I would say, even trips to the city, New York City. I did that recently with one of my kids and a good friend, and we went to the Met. And I've been to the Met multiple times, and
Sure.
it's not super new, but I happened to have hurt my foot and I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair, which, let's just go ahead and say, New York City is not friendly to people in wheelchairs.
That's a little challenging.
Yeah, it's very challenging. So she was pushing me, and she was just pushing me really, really fast through the Degas and all of those things. I'm like, stop. Just turn me around. Stop for a minute and look at this. And by the time we left there, we had to make her leave because she was so, amazed by that and the other things that are in there.
I think that was one of the greatest blessings that I had growing up is an opportunity to access all the great art that was open to the public. And, that is an incredible museum. I've seen museums around the world. That's right up there. I mean,
Yeah.
there isn't many that are more interesting than that,
Yeah.
and more dynamic. And so that draws people, and you see people of different demographics. You see people of different ideas, but they come together to share that appreciation.
They really do. So let's just ask about the elephant in the room. What is stopping this plan? And again, I mean, you mentioned that she has a plan
Right.
and a program. I'm sorry, you said program. Tell us a little bit about what that entails and why we're having trouble not trouble, but pushback, I would say.
I think you set that up pretty well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's the situation. In the program that Christina put together, you look at how other towns have put art murals up, and we're not the only town to have art murals, obviously. And who's going to pay for it? Art murals are not, again, if you want quality art, is not inexpensive. It takes a lot, both in terms of the quality of the actual painting, and then of course the quality of the artist. So it's not inexpensive. It takes time. There's a lot of work involved in it, and we want quality. The whole point of having public art should enhance the quality of life for everybody. And so the quality and the high standards are crucial. So how are you going to get the funding for that? Now, some towns will actually have a set-aside fund, which they will have a grant application. You can apply for it, and they'll fund it.
For particularly I'm not saying that.
Murals.
Or just beautification in general.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see towns that will have funds available for both those things. Sometimes they'll be specifically for art murals. Sometimes they'll be just for projects, sculptures, or something else along those lines. But art murals are the most popular because you've got the wall. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It just makes a lot more sense in terms of the quality and enhancing the neighborhood, I should say. And so that's good. So Christina in this great program that she put together was, how are we going to fund it? And she's written grants. I mean, she's done that. She works through the Winston-Salem, Forsyth County Art Council. So they support her efforts as well, too, and they've been a great partner for her. And I think what I like about Christina is that she's not asking the town to pay for it. Mm-hmm. She's not asking the residents or taxpayers to pay for it. She says, I can go out there, and even though I'm not a salesperson, I'm going to go around and talk to businesses and see if they'd be willing to sponsor some of these murals. Yep. And I'll raise the money through that. And in return, I'd like to acknowledge them with a sponsorship. Where you'll see on a mural where there'll be the signing of the name of the artist, and there'll be hopefully a sign that says sponsored by, and then the name of the person who did it, which is common. It's normal, and so you can have a plaque, or it could be just on the painting itself, and it's pretty common actually. The issue that came about was when she had gone to the town, and the town said, well, we don't have a problem with sponsorship. If somebody wants to put their name on it, we think that's great, but you can't put a name of a business on it if the business is not on that location. It's called an off-premise sign. So we have a very strict sign ordinance in the town of Kernersville, which is good. I mean, we want to be able to control. We don't want the signs thrown up all over the place. Right. We want to make sure the place looks great. I think the town has done an outstanding job. I mean, this is a beautiful place, and they've done so much good. I mean, I can't fault them for anything. But I think that it's interesting that she came across that issue. And so, well, she said, well, it's a little plaque. I mean, we're not talking about anything big. We're talking about just the name of the sponsor. And they wouldn't allow the name of the company to do it. And she felt that, I can't ask these companies that have offered to fund them to, just do them and not get the credit for it. And so she put the project on hold until we can go forward. Her goal is to move forward in November. The reason why I got involved, and I think this is why I'm glad I'm here, I think it's a bigger issue. I think the issue is, I'm a big, again, small business person. I like the concept of cause marketing. Cause marketing is a way for any business to support a community, nonprofit, whether it's a charity or whether it's in this case a public art thing, and get credit for it. I mean, they could take out an ad in a newspaper, but if I want to align my business with my customers, and I know my customers like art, they'll like me because I'm supporting this artwork. So it's a way for companies to give back and create truly a win-win scenario. So to me, like, this is really, whether it's not just for art murals, I'm very active in historic preservation. I would like to see where we can do that as well too. If somebody sponsors something to help out with historic preservation, or somebody helps out with something else that's good for our community, they should get recognition for it.
Yeah, I agree 100% for this, because you just use the term win-win. That's what I see with this. You have somebody, this is not thrown together.
No.
It is something that's planned out, thought out. It's a great plan. It doesn't cost the city anything, and it's something everybody can enjoy. And why not? I'd like to know who helped sponsor that piece of artwork, because I'd like to show my appreciation for them, for loving our community, caring enough about our community, wanting something like this displayed. And I think it's a win-win in a great deal. So there's got to be a way to navigate.
Lamar, you're absolutely correct, and a lot of people feel the way you do. Yeah. Now, the way to do it is, I mean, like, we have a sign ordinance. What do we do about it? I mean, we're not the only town that has sign murals. There are other towns in North Carolina that have art murals, and so you could do a couple of things. I'm not an attorney, but you can have an ordinance that is separate from your sign ordinance that allows for murals. You can make it an exception to your existing sign ordinance that will allow for art murals. It's a non-commercial type entity. It is distinct enough that it can be done. And like I mentioned, there are other towns that have done it. You have a situation where you can have a landmark indicator. Town has it now. We have it on park benches, sponsored by, in dedication or for this company. You'll see bricks on the sidewalk,
Yes.
with
Yeah.
company names on it. So, I think it's an issue that you don't have to make it more complex than it really should be. So, okay, I understand that it's not an existing sign ordinance, but we don't have a mural ordinance. So that's really the issue. And the issue is, okay, well, how do we create an opportunity to do that? And I think that, again, looking at what some other towns in the state have done, we've had people that have stepped up. I've got Lindsay Langley. She's the owner of Blue Stream Environmental. She's works with a lot of different towns and knows a lot of their planners. And she's reached out to them, and they've expressed support. They've shared with her what they've done, and they've offered to work with our town as well too to help come up with something that would make sense. So I think it's the town, the opposition. It's easy to say no. We don't have to do anything. And I think, it's safe to say no sometimes. And this is, sometimes you have to step out a little bit. And to make things better, you have to take an initiative. I will say that, again, people like art murals. I've seen our elected officials. I know they're in favor of art murals. They're not. This is an issue that was brought to their attention, so they're concerned about it, and I appreciate that. But there's a way to resolve it. And
What is that? Sorry. Do you have a question?
No, I agree, and I just want to reinforce and keep your thought because I think I know where you're going. I talked to somebody about this last week. They took their phone out and they ride motorcycles with a group different, and they go to different small towns. They're supportive of those small towns when they go there. They honor veterans when they go. Just a great group. Actually, I got some raffle tickets the other day because they're raising money for a veterans group, and I'm supportive of that. I think that's neat. But she took time on her phone to show me, look at this mural. We took a picture in front of it. And this mural, all different towns here in North Carolina, and proud of that they were able to do that. So I think it's a great thing. And I think our local government has done a great job. But you and I know how difficult it is to keep a downtown historic district alive and active because so many of them are dead. And there's a fight. I know where I live in Walnut Cove, there's an effort to try to help that local community. And there's some local business people who have done an amazing job to try to bring life back into that. So that's a difficult thing. And I know our elected officials want what's best, but I also agree there's a way to navigate this to make this happen.
And we have one of the things we talked about, the Chamber of Commerce being so good in supporting businesses. The town government has too. I mean, and we're very lucky to have a town government and a Chamber of Commerce that work together to really help the local small businesses. So it's, we're all on the same page.
Yes.
So that's I guess a little bit for me the frustrating part of it.
Yeah. So just never having done anything like this, and probably a lot of our viewers wouldn't know, where did you start in this journey of kind of what happened that there was pushback on to make you realize that you have to step up the ladder and how to go about doing this in the proper way so that everybody is behind it?
Christina had worked closely with the town. She knew that she would need permits. She had to make sure that she didn't violate any ordinance or zoning. And so she really worked, with the town professionals to come up with ideas to make sure that she was in compliance as best she could. Right before the event, and she had the finished products to show them, that's the first time that they noticed the company name.
Okay.
So that's what. We didn't know that was there. We didn't, and they didn't. They admit they didn't tell her, but it was an oversight, and so it wasn't intentional. But so that's how it came up. And so now she, like I said, she put the project on hold. She plans to do it again, to have this festival again. It's really cool. I mean, it's the ladies who paint. These are all women artists. and she felt that was important. All these artists had to apply and qualify to be selected, to be picked to do them. It's a lot of process that went into making sure we had the right, really outstanding artists. So at this point in time, this is a pivotal moment because the Board of Aldermen agree that, if there's a way to make this work, they would like to do it.
Okay.
Good.
They're going to make that decision at the August 5th Alderman meeting.
Okay.
And so, my focus is getting people involved now to let your elected officials know. Let people know that what your opinions are. I think this is an opportunity for the community to speak up. You could do it on social media. Yep. You could do it, through anything that you're comfortable doing. Write an email or a letter or call somebody. But I think the more attention we bring to it, I think that'll help say, hey, we really do need to make this work.
Yeah.
So people would need to contact who? The mayor, the aldermen,
whoever they feel comfortable speaking to.
Okay.
Okay. I think we're a small town. And I think that there are a lot of people involved in the decision. They may know somebody who works in the town government. They may know the town manager. They may know the town planner. I think they need to talk to people that they know or ask questions.
Okay.
And I like to see the community involved. Yes. And I think this is, and let people understand the issues and let people see what the benefits are. And I think, I know we'll come up with the right solution.
Yeah. How did you get involved?
I just thought this was too good to pass up.
You have a passion for it. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, we're business people. Christina is not a, quote, traditional business person. And I just felt that she just needed a little more advocacy for something that's as solid and as wonderful as this. I commend her for what she's done. I think the town should recognize her for what she's done. And I'm just this is a great community, like I said. And I think anything we can do to help enhance this for the future. We've got a great history here. I've been involved in that for a long time, knowing the history here from looking across the street to your train depot, 1873 train depot. That says a lot about our town and how we got that, and then we could do a whole show on that. But I just think it's the right thing for the community.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a rich history. I've been digging into that some, and it's been fascinating. I didn't realize George Washington came here.
Yes, he did.
And ate breakfast.
Yes.
Where? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Dobson Crossing, pretty much where Cakes and All Things Yummy is now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You didn't know that,
At the
did you?
crossroads.
At the crossroads.
Yeah.
Is there a certain amount of murals? Did I say that right again?
Yes, you did.
I'm getting there. That can, like a certain number that a downtown will allow, or is there, what is that?
That's a great question. This project was designed to have 14 murals.
Okay.
And we've got 3 of them now, and she's hoping that was the project's plan, was to have 14 murals. Yeah. There's no limit to what could be put up. It's really up to the building owner.
Sure.
It's
Okay.
not everybody wants to have a mural on their wall.
Right.
We're not putting it on historic buildings. So
that's kind of what I was wondering.
Yeah, so it's going in the right places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did the city approve the 14, or did she have to go to the city, or just go to the building owners?
No, building owners.
Okay.
In this town, building owners pretty much could paint anything they want on their walls, which is pretty interesting. So as strict as our zoning is for signs, it's not for painting on walls. So it's...
Let's not give any ideas.
Yeah, I know. But I just think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So we're coming up quickly to that decision.
Yep.
So people out there need to hop on this quickly, I would say.
I totally agree.
And also I do want to express this. I appreciate your heart and spirit because your approach is this is not a controversy. It's a conversation. Correct. You want to have a conversation.
Exactly.
And I think that is great. And I appreciate that. And I think that's how we make keep our town great, keep moving forward, is having conversations about this, because I think it's a great thing for our town.
All right, I'm just going to add this. What if they say no?
Well,
They can't say no.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think they would, but in that case, would she just paint the paintings? I'm not trying to say it again.
murals.
Murals.
Yeah.
And just not put the signage there. Or
No, I
what
think
do you
she'll take a project and go to another town.
I don't
Yeah,
like
sure.
that.
Exactly. And so that's why we need this here. Look at the people that take pictures and selfies with these murals. It is massive. It is huge.
It is.
And talk about how people talk about Kernersville. That is a great way to do that, especially if we have these new murals.
Well,
Murals.
I get it.
We have these new murals up for people to take and promote this wonderful town.
I know personally that there are, on the tourism side of it, because I have heard that they come specifically, especially for the Anthony Bourdain one, they come to Kernersville because they heard about that just to take pictures right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then that benefits, they're going to spend money somewhere. I don't think they're coming and just leaving. I think they're going to walk the main street because it's a quaint, beautiful little town that...
It's a reason to go somewhere.
Yeah.
It's, I don't care if you're coming for an hour, or you're coming for an afternoon, or you're going to go to a place you haven't visited in a while. Having an additional reason, an additional attraction makes a difference.
I think I saw it online, even like stuff to do in North Carolina. I believe I did. Now I might be wrong, but I think I did.
Well, actually, if you went to the visit northcarolina.com website, which is the tourism board for the state, it's on their site.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have a whole page dedicated to towns in North Carolina that have murals.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
I think it's great. And we have a lot of wonderful things here in Kernersville. This is not the murals isn't the solve all thing.
Correct.
We have a lot of wonderful things here, but it would be an additional thing that just would make this place even a lot greater.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I agree for sure. I think that it's also very important, you being here, to give a way that for other business owners, number one, or just people who want to see change, you're saying these are the steps.
Correct.
Like you can advocate in this way and not just say, oh, well, they said no, but they don't have a remedy in their ordinances. They don't have a self-standing remedy. And so to fight for that remedy, and I fight more a conversation. I'm not trying to be controversial. But
There's
you're
a solution,
paving,
and we can figure this out.
Exactly.
You're paving that way for other people to feel empowered, in my opinion.
And people are empowered.
Yeah.
They do have that opportunity. I mean, the town is, obviously interested in tourism. They built a visitor center. I mean, so it's like, we want pedestrian traffic here. We want people to come here. And people need to speak up about their community.
Yes.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, it's, there's, have that conversation. Look for things that we can do together and find a solution.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
I love it. All right, so, okay, I think that's great.
So the deadline is August what?
Fifth, I'm sorry.
5th.
It's all in the meeting.
August 5th. I'm looking straight in this camera. After this conversation that you've heard, and there's only positives that could come out of it, but you can be directly a part of this solution, so we don't lose the other 11 murals that are going to happen. I think it's a phone call or an email. Like, get involved. Take that upon yourself to take 2 or 3 minutes to say, hey, I want to see this. That would be amazing, and be empowered to do so. There are different ways. If you don't feel comfortable speaking to somebody on the phone, email. It's just that simple.
Comment on Facebook.
Oh, comment.
Social media
Social
is
media.
powerful, very powerful.
Especially
Use
in
it.
Especially in this conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to circle back then. So the Mindful Traveler, what a wonderful name. And
Thank
so
you.
what is your email? I mean, the best way to get a hold of you. I know you have a website, and what is that?
TheMindfulTraveler.com.
All right, themindfultraveler.com. And I know Daniel will put that on the screen, but we need to say it.
I appreciate
And then also the Triad Business Network Association. We talked about how wonderful the chamber is here and that small businesses need to be a part of it. And it just is an amazing organization all the way around.
And that's another benefit of being a member of the Chamber of Commerce. A lot of networking groups sometimes require a fee or an application to join, but if you're a member of the Chamber of Commerce, you can participate in a networking group at no additional cost.
Yes, and there's different types of networking groups.
Yes.
But I like the way this one is set up because of my schedule. So I do appreciate the way this one is set up. But if somebody wants to find out more
There's
about
the historic train
the
going
historic
on.
train.
No, well, the train track going by
a
the
lot of times
historic
we can
little
even feel it.
depot.
Yeah.
So if you hear that, that's what it is.
It's a great
That's what
sound.
it
I
is.
love the
Choo
train whistle.
choo. So to get information about the Chamber and the Triad Business Network Association, you can go to KernersvilleNC.com. That's the Chamber's website. And so we'll put that up on the screen as well.
Thank you.
And what is your website? Who's championing this on social media? What is this under?
You'll find, I would say, Christina Parrish, you'll see it on there, but you'll see it under some of the other Kernersville sites, Kernersville 411 or some of the other Triad.
If you look around there, you'll find it.
Yeah, you find it. Just,
Yeah.
Okay.
But I also too want to give props out to Chris at Scope News.
Yes. Chris Hadgey's been a big proponent of this as well too.
Yes.
He's I commend a lot of his effort for creating a digital publishing situation that is well needed.
I wanted to shout out to him because I've watched him since we've been doing this as well. I'm very impressed with that.
He's embraced the town like a lot of people
Yes.
have, and he wants to make sure that people have access to have that conversation, that people know more about what's going on current events in town, and showcasing all the wonderful things that are happening here.
Yeah, so shout out to Chris too for
Yes.
that. for
That's
sure.
awesome. Thank you so much for
Hey,
being here.
well, thank you for having this conversation.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
starts here, and you made this possible. And I think you're doing a great job for our town as well, too. And, that you set up here and you're giving these spotlights to local businesses and it's giving an opportunity to a lot of people to learn more. I know I benefit from watching them, so I hope other people are too.
We appreciate
That means so much.
It does.
Yes, for real. So we'll keep in touch about this.
Yes.
I would like to continue, know, and
I'll keep you posted.
yeah, please do. And I believe that's going to do it for this episode of Small Business Leaders Podcast. We thank Bruce for being with us today. And look us up as well. If you haven't followed us on any of the social medias, please do that. We're on all of them under Legacy Podcast Studios. Studio, not studios. Daniel put the right thing up there. But we would love to spotlight your business here. So let us know.
Absolutely.
Push the like button.
Yeah, like us. Please like us. Follow us. That helps us a lot. We'd appreciate that.
And we'll see you next time. Take care.